Burnout is so real, and it can affect your mental health and productivity. Here's how I survive it. Let's get into it. Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel, The Writing Desk Diaries. I'm Danny, the person behind D. Lavelle Books, and I'm so glad you decided to join me today. So let's talk about what burnout looks like. So for me specifically, it generally shows up in three ways. First, decision fatigue. There are so many moving parts when you're building something on your own. You're writing, editing, formatting, marketing, figuring out timelines and all the logistics that go into self-publishing. And sometimes the exhaustion doesn't come from the creative work itself. It comes from the 1,000 tiny decisions surrounding the work, even something small, like realizing a link is wrong across multiple manuscripts, and you have to figure out if you're going to fix it and re-upload new versions everywhere. But your mental bandwidth is already full. Burnout loves a crowded brain. Second, emotional saturation. Think about the stories you write that deal with themes like identity, power, loss, healing, complicated relationships. Because when you write emotionally layered work, you don't just observe the emotions, you process them. You hold them in and explore them yourself, especially if you've experienced them. You sit in them long enough to translate them into a story. Doing that once is really meaningful. Doing that repeatedly without space in between can be draining as hell. And I actually did that when I wrote The Life I Didn't Live and The Silent Offering back to back. Writing heavy material like that so closely together is like emotional weightlifting with no rest days. Eventually your mind says, we need recovery time, not because you're weak, because you're human and you need rest like everyone else. Number three, caring deeply about doing things well. One thing I've learned is that burnout often shows up in people who care deeply about their work, people who are intentional, who want their work to be meaningful. And while I think that level of care is a strength, it also means you can end up carrying way too much pressure. We don't need that extra added stress. No, thank you. Next, let's talk about what burnout isn't. Don't ever let anyone tell you that burnout is laziness or a lack of discipline or proof that you're not meant to do the thing you feel called to do. It's not failure. Burnout is definitely not a sign that your goals are unrealistic. Sometimes burnout is simply a signal that your current momentum and emotional load needs readjustment, not abandonment. There's a difference. Quitting and recalibrating, resting and giving up, slowing down and losing momentum. None of these are the same thing. And sometimes slowing down is what actually helps preserve said momentum. How do I deal with burnout? First, I don't stack heavy projects back to back anymore. If I just finish something emotionally heavy, I try not to jump into something that's equally emotionally heavy. And that doesn't mean I've stopped working. It means I'm shifting the type of projects I'm working on, like outlining instead of drafting, maybe editing instead of writing something new. If I do write something new, it's lighter versus something that's heavier. Creativity has different stages, and not every stage needs to be emotionally intense. Second, I let rest be rest. Sometimes it looks like reading stories instead of writing them, watching something mindless on TV, stepping away long enough for my whole mental state and body to refresh. We are machines, y'all. We're humans that need space to decompress or just shut our minds off completely. Number three, I really try to remember why I even started writing in the first place, because when burnout hits, it can make everything feel a lot more mechanical. And number four, I accept that my capacity fluctuates. Some seasons you can produce a lot, some you need to slow yourself down, and both are valid. Consistency doesn't always look like the speed at which you finish. Sometimes it looks like continuing even if the pacing changes. Progress is still progress, friends. I want to leave you with a little bit of encouragement. If you're feeling burnt out right now, I want you to know that burnout doesn't erase your ability or your talent or your future. It just means something needs care. You need care. your workload expectations, environment, emotional bandwidth. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is adjust your strategy instead of abandoning your vision. You don't have to disappear to recover. You can recalibrate and keep moving forward. If burnout is something you've been navigating, you're not alone. I'm experiencing it right now, especially if you're building something meaningful on your own. I'd love to know what burnout looks like for you and what has helped you move through it. You're allowed to take as much time as you need in getting to where you want to be, and burnout shouldn't stop your progress. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you'll stick around so we can learn and grow together. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next time, happy creating.